Alright, guys. The moment we've been waiting for is finally here. We have officially made it to the final chapter of this story. Which is dedicated to the Little Einsteins episode, A Galactic Good Night. And the reason why we did this is that we decided to make this web series and story for its 20-year anniversary, which just passed about 16 days ago. But today, August 30th, marks a milestone of the episode's second airing on the Playhouse Disney block on Disney Channel. And as mentioned before, this is one of the times that the channel would ever air something like that during a marathon or during its regular schedule. And as mentioned in the last episode, I think this was one of the only times that they would ever make an episode about bedtime or maybe space. Now, before we give our final verdicts, we would like to give you a short but long recap from this web series. And we're starting off with Chapter 1, the episode's story. The episode where we kicked off the web series by explaining the plot of A Galactic Good Night, which starts off on the team having a sleepover in the Rocket Room and having different sleeping tricks except for Rocket. The first attempt into making him falling asleep did not work, which led to Leo's decision to go to outer space to count the 9 planets in the solar system, which that song was made up by Annie to sing to For Elise by Beethoven. Until they stopped at Mars to see if he was asleep, but he wasn't. But that is when a dust storm was heading towards them, which made the team and Rocket climb up Olympus Mons, and Quincy helped him climb faster by playing the piano. But that plan did not work. So they got back up in space to sing that song again, until it abruptly stops, getting the team stuck in Jupiter's swirling and rolling winds, which led to June doing different dances to get out of them. But that plan didn't work, so they zoom back to the sun and sing that song again until they reach Neptune. Until they eventually find the dwarf planet Pluto behind that ice giant. So they zoom back to the sun again, and this time they made Leo sing that song again in a much lower pitch until they successfully did it, which made Rocket grew very tired, completing the entire mission. And the planets in question led us to Chapter 2, which in that episode, we took a look at the solar system's planets and the different surface and atmospheres in them before we explained the two gas and ice giants. Before we head to Chapter 3, the music, which in that episode we explained the different piano tracks that was used throughout the episode and the different tones it had. But keep in mind that in the scene where Rocket and the team were headed back home, that track for Appassionata used was actually the third movement, not the first one. But it was used when the team would head to space and when they were on Mars as well. But here is where we explain 4 more chapters before we say our final verdicts. So, before we give our final verdicts of A Galactic Good Night itself, what we want to do first is to give at least a few more quick recaps from 4 more chapters of this story just to finish this off. And this next chapter we're recapping is Chapter 4, Reruns in 2007, which in that episode, we took a look at some online databases for schedules of Disney Channel and the Playhouse Disney block in 2007 and how it had 3 rerun dates in spring to early summer 2007 before it began being phased out with other Little Einsteins episodes. And prior to that, we then head in to Chapter 5, Reclassification, which in that episode, we talked about the reclassification of the dwarf planet Pluto and its inclusion in that episode as well. And we also talked about the 5 moons that orbit around it, with some of them being named after Greek mythology and some of them having some irregularly shaped structures. But right after this chapter, we then head into chapter 6, Olympus Mons, which in this chapter, we explained the tall volcano or mountain on the planet, about its height, and how the team were on the planet and how they climbed up when they encounter a dust storm. But then we head into chapter 7, The Sleeping Einsteins, where we finally explain the scene of the beginning of the episode itself, featuring the team asleep in their colored sleeping bags. But midway through, we talked about the show's and episode's broadcast history on Playhouse Disney itself, before we get back to the main topic about the tricks and positions. So now, with those chapters recapped, it is time to give our final verdicts to finish this web series off. A galactic good night will forever and always be a memorable episode of Little Einsteins. And although it has been forgotten ever since, this episode would still capture our hearts of how we've seen the solar system in the Milky Way galaxy before August 24th, 2006, and how the planet counting song was associated with a classic Beethoven piano track. As mentioned before, it's Fur Elise. As of today, this episode can still be viewed on some other platforms. To relive this space mission. Because the more time we all remember this, the less some kids will do.